Let me say, some people are saying that I shouldn't speak for people of this region. First and foremost, I come from this region. Ordinarily, as a national leader, I should have been speaking on most issues. But why I speak is because all the elected members of parliament and senators from the Mount Kenya region were bought by William Ruto, and they no longer speak for the people. They hear no evil, they see no evil. Therefore, somebody must speak. And I must say, though I was removed from office, I'm an elected leader. I was elected by the people of Kenya. And none of those people who elected me removed me from office. And since there is nobody to speak for these people, somebody must speak for them. So Rigathi Gachagua will continue speaking first and foremost for the people of Kenya. Secondly, he will speak for the people of this region because the people of this region have been abandoned by their elected representatives on the instructions of William Ruto, and they no longer speak for the people. When we are having this crisis, kids cannot go to school. Kids have been taken to schools far away from home. Kids with very high marks have been taken to schools with no infrastructure at all, despite the fact that their parents contributed money to put up beautiful institutions. Members of parliament, members of senate are quiet. That is not acceptable. I must speak to this issue, demanding that all children of Kenya be admitted to the best schools on merit. And I'm not saying children from this area or any other area who are not qualified or who have not met the minimum points that are required should be admitted to these great institutions. I am saying, and parents have asked me to say so, that all children of Kenya should be given an opportunity on merit. Finally, I want to say that we used to have a very good system of placement of our kids into secondary schools. Principals would gather at the Kenya Science Teachers College, and they are given all the pupils who apply to go to those institutions. Then a committee would agree on the cutoff point, and the principals would make the choices and place the children accordingly. This is no longer the case. The placement of our children has been centralized at Jogoo House, which has brought in corruption, because the bureaucrats sitting at Jogoo House have no capacity to know how to place kids. That is why we have a crisis where kids have been placed in a day school 300 kilometers away from their homes. How do people expect these children to go about their lives? If it's a girl aged 13 years and she has been placed in a school 200-300 kilometers away from home, the parents would have to go and get a house, a rented room for that girl and leave her there. Again, the parents would spend a lot of money. So we have a crisis, we have a mess. I heard William Ruto saying that it has been done very well. He doesn't live in this country anymore. He should know and hear the outcry of parents. Parents are spending thousands of shillings trying to take their children far away from home to day schools, look for accommodation, look how they'll be eating, how they'll be cooking. It's a crisis of unknown magnitude. We are saying that it is not right to admit any child to a day school outside a walking distance. And when the principals were doing it, it was done properly because the principals know the catchment area of the secondary school, and then they will do 3, 4, 5 kilometers only. But we have a situation where kids in Machakos have been admitted in a day school in Kericho. How does that child survive? This is not right. This is unnecessary. And finally, let me say, some people are saying that I shouldn't speak for people of this region. First and foremost, I come from this region. Ordinarily, as a national leader, I should have been speaking on most issues. But why I speak is because all the elected members of parliament and senators from the Mount Kenya region were bought by William Ruto, and they no longer speak for the people. They hear no evil, they see no evil. Therefore, somebody must speak. And I must say, though I was removed from office, I'm an elected leader. I was elected by the people of Kenya. And none of those people who elected me removed me from office. And since there is nobody to speak for these people, somebody must speak for them. So Rigathi Gachagua will continue speaking first and foremost for the people of Kenya. Secondly, he will speak for the people of this region, because the people of this region have been abandoned by their elected representatives on the instructions of William Ruto, and they no longer speak for the people. When we are having this crisis, kids cannot go to school. Kids have been taken to schools far away from home. Kids with very high marks have been taken to schools with no infrastructure at all, despite the fact that their parents contributed money to put up beautiful institutions. Members of Parliament, members of Senate are quiet. That is not acceptable. I must speak to this issue. That is why, like here in Nyeri, when I came last night, people around Kiganjo, around Kericho, and business people have come to see me because they have information that Kiganjo Police College, that was developed by the colonialists, want to be relocated to Baringo and West Pokot by Murkomen and William Ruto. And that means the people who have been supplying foodstuffs, who have been supplying other essentials to that college, will be rendered out of business. Yet the MPs from this region are quiet. The senator is quiet. Somebody must speak for the people of Nyeri. And that does not make me tribal. I'm just a responsible leader. And I want to say nobody will intimidate Rigathi Gachagua from speaking for people who elected him and who trust him and who depend on him to speak for them. And anytime I speak for the people of this region, I am called a tribalist. Yet when leaders speak on behalf of the people of Western Kenya, nobody calls them tribalists. I have seen the people of Northeastern Kenya. Anytime one of their person is touched, the whole community is up in arms. Nobody calls them tribal. Yet when I speak for 150,000 rice farmers in Moya, I'm called tribal. I want to say that I will not be cowed, I will not be intimidated. Anybody can call me whatever you want to call me. I must continue to speak for the people. And as you know, the slogan of my party is listening to the ground. I only speak for the people because they tell me to speak for them. This placement of grade 10 kids is a serious crisis, not just in this area. You know, people have called me from all over the country, thanking me for raising these issues. And I want to invite a national conversation around the issue of the quota system. Is it necessary anymore? After devolution for 13 years, after money has been allocated for equalization fund, after every constituency is given the same amount of money for CDF, do we still need the quota system? Is it not time that we said all national schools are available to all the children of Kenya on merit? We shouldn't have two standards, one for some areas and another standard for some other areas. Yet those areas that are being given low standards have received billions of Kenya shillings to upgrade institutions. So I want to tell the leaders from Northeastern Kenya, please leave East Lee and South Sea and go to Northern Kenya and develop institutions. You have serious money. All this money, what are you doing with this money? I've been to Garissa, I've been to Wajir, I've been to Madera, I've been to Marsabit. I don't see schools. I don't see any institutions. Yet, from the books, you have received billions of Kenya shillings. If the people of Wajir, the county government, decided out of the 99 billion they have received, put aside only 9 billion, at 3 billion per school, they would put up 3 great institutions in Wajir of the highest standard possible. Yet they have received 99 billion, there is nothing to show for it. So let the leaders from that area not cry about being profiled. They are not working. They have not spent their resources prudently. They should use the money that have been allocated to them to put up institutions like the rest of the country. And they should not intimidate the rest of us when we say that those institutions developed by our ancestors, by communities, should also benefit the children from those communities alongside other children from the people of Kenya. Thank you very much. Let me also say this. because it's important. Let leaders from northern Kenya not lecture us about affirmative action. Devolution has been in place since 2013, and leaders from those regions deliberately have refused to develop institutions. Yet they want their children to enjoy the facilities of institutions that have been put by other leaders in other counties. Since 2013, Wajir County has received 99.6 billion Kenya shillings. Marsabit County has received 76.83 billion. Garissa County has received 81.7 billion shillings. Mandera County has received 119 Kenya billion shillings. They have the opportunity to develop institutions of the highest standards possible in Kenya. Not just for the children of those areas, but for the children of Kenya. I traveled as deputy president to those areas, and I don't see any institutions, despite the massive funding that taxpayers have channeled to those counties. Yet in counties that have received less money, in Western Kenya, in Rift Valley, here in the mountain, when you go around, you see beautiful institutions. I want to say that we need to have a national conversation about zoning of placement. This was okay then because some areas were marginalized, but these areas have received massive funding from the Equalization Fund. They have received massive funds from the National Kitty. CDF funds are shared equally among the 290 constituencies. Yet when you go to these areas where the leaders are making a lot of noise, there is nothing on the ground. In fact, when I was deputy president, I was shocked that these leaders from northern Kenya don't live there and they don't work there. Anytime I had a trip to Garissa, to Mandera, to Wajir, the leaders of those regions would demand that I make space available for them on my aircraft. I would go with them and come back with them. And I never saw any institutions there, despite the fact that billions of shillings have been given to those areas.